Hey, everybody, and welcome to our bonus episode of the Overlay, a poker podcast brought to you from CCG Poker Radio. We have Joe on the line. Joe, are you there?
Hey, Kenny, what's up?
Hey, how are you? It's kind of funny to I don't want to use the word interview you because you're a pretty diehard poker player, and you're what we like to call in the Brandon and I realm of poker players, you're a serious rec player. You don't do it for money. You don't do it. I mean, everybody likes money, but it's not like you're doing this as a job or to supplement income. This is fun, and yet you still take it very seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I had aspirations when I was younger to probably do professional, but
yeah,
I mean, I give those guys credit. There's no way I could ever play pro. Like, I mean, it's especially nowadays the game's so hard.
Yeah,
and the players
they're all so good,
so much better than they were before. Like, I mean, I play, like, when I go on vacation, I'm married now. My wife's cool. She'll like let me go play for a couple hours if there's a casino around. Like,
nice.
Funny story. We went to New Orleans for the first time last year.
Oh yeah.
We both never been there, so we like to go out and have a couple cocktails. And I mean, me and you pounded a couple out of Bears
for sure.
So she's like, we pull up, and a friend of mine works for the Marriott, and he had a extra room, and he's like, hey, you and your wife want this for New Orleans for the weekend? No problem. So I usually do some research when I travel, blah, blah, blah. And it turned out that the hotel we were staying at, the Harrah's Casino, was right across the street.
Oh, yeah. And it's right in downtown, like
right
New
there.
Orleans. Like, it's crazy to think about,
Yeah.
like, because New Orleans needs more, ways to just, I don't know, what's the right word here? It needs more sin. New Orleans needs more sin. And what better thing to do than to slap a casino right in the middle of New Orleans? But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. So my wife's like, oh, how convenient, right across the street from the casino. I was like, I didn't plan it that way. So we go out, we do the whole Bourbon Street thing, blah, 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 and it's an early night, like 9:00, and go back up to the room, and she passes out. So I gently roll her off me, and I go across the street, and I play for like 3 hours. I just left a little note on the table. If she woke up in the middle of the night,
I hate to interrupt you, but I do the exact same thing with my wife. Because when like her and I go to Vegas, and we know, I mean, pre-COVID anything, but we normally go to Vegas at least once a year. And she likes to shop, and we do all the restaurants. I mean, and Vegas has really turned into like a great spot for that. But it's so funny, like 11:30, 12, everything's kind of done, and she's like, all right, I'm gonna go to sleep. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go downstairs for a little bit just to see what's going on. And then next thing you know, it's 5:00 in the morning, I come back. Right. But anyway, so I'm glad we have that in common for sure.
I do it everywhere. We go to Scottsdale every year. My birthday weekend happens to fall on the same weekend as the Waste Management Open.
Nice.
The crazy go. So we go every year, and Super Bowl is always that weekend too. So it's a perfect time to be
it's a fun. What a great birthday weekend.
Right, the weather's good. You can go. I bring the golf clubs. I'll play out there, and the Talking Stick Resorts is like by far my favorite casino I've ever been at.
Really,
better than Vegas, better than anywhere I go. And the games are good. They spread them well. The room is run so perfect. The food is great, and they have everything. And you know what I play there? And you'll laugh at this because this is how me and you grew up playing. They have limit, dude.
I know.
They have 20-40 limit.
I miss limit.
I know, me too. Like, that's all they had, remember? Until Moneymaker came around. Like, that's all we would play. We'd play 5-10 limit at resorts or Harrah's, whatever. People probably don't know now, but it's Ameristar in East Chicago.
Remember when it was Trump?
It was it was the first poker room, and it was great. And they only had limit. They had 7 stud, and they had 5-10, 10-20, and 20-40 limit. Yep. And a funny story about that is, like, we were playing, I had a good week, and I think I won like $1,000, which is like big deal, So I'm like, I'm gonna give it a shot playing. This was playing 5-10 limit. I'm like, I'm gonna beat this game. I'm gonna go to 20-40 limit. I got this game. No lie. Like, this was a reality check on like how I knew I wasn't that good at poker.
Right.
This same guy in the same hand check raised me all 3 streets. Can you imagine that? I bet he checked. I bet he raised. Okay, nowadays I'm off the gas.
Right.
That happens. Turn comes. He checks. I bet he raises. Same thing on the river, and I'm like, of course he had it. I was like, now I couldn't. Like, I sit back and laugh about that story. It's like, there's no way that would happen to me now. Like,
Right.
I'm done. I'm the white flag's coming up.
Right. I'm giving up.
Race.
Yeah, I give up.
It's so funny.
But now I interrupt you. What happened in New Orleans when you left the wife and you went down to the casino?
I think I had a couple cocktails myself, so I think I lost about $1,000.
I wonder what like the average, like, when you go into a poker room and like there's nights where like you're, at least I know, like if it's like a vacation time, like I'm drinking, I'm having fun, like it's more about those things. But I wonder, like in New Orleans, like I wonder if there's like local pros that go there that are just like, God, it's like got to be like 90% tourists and like just 1 out of 9 guys are like local grinding pros, and it's got to be like a feeding frenzy. I don't
100%. I 100%, because when I was thinking, I mean, I wasn't fully intoxicated, but I probably shouldn't have been playing
for sure.
But have you ever played there?
Like when I played there, when I went in college, because I went to school in Mississippi, so we would go there, like once a year. But it was normally blackjack and we were there to drink, and we were in college. Like it wasn't like I was going to like, and poker really wasn't. This is like 98, 99, 2000, so it's not really like. Poker wasn't, it wasn't a big deal. Nobody really played. I don't even know if they had a poker room then.
So their cash games have no max.
I did know that.
The 1-3 game and the 2-5 game have no max. And the only thing I kept thinking is like, I need to come back here just for a poker trip. But I don't know how you tell the wife that you're just
I'm going to go to New Orleans to play poker. Yeah, it's like one of those dark places you can't go to. It's just, bad things happen in New Orleans. Fun things happen in New Orleans, but bad things happen too.
We had a great time, minus a little hiccup losing $1,000, but she didn't need to know about that.
No. I never tell mine either,
No.
The funny story about that.
You lost 200,
Yeah, I was playing, we were playing at a blackjack table, and I like to play blackjack by myself, and I'll normally start low, but I'm a presser. Like, I'll start, $25 minimum table, and if I'm doing well, I'll bump it up to 50 to 100, and I'll just keep riding the rush. If it's going great, I mean, I'm still on my original $500 that I sat down with, so it's like, to me, you can't lose more. I don't think of it as money won, right? Like, if you get up to like 2K, like, I'm not thinking like, oh man, I'm up 1,500. I'm thinking now I can start pressing and get it up to an absurd number. So anyways, I'm getting towards the end, and I'm up, my 500 is not like 2,500. I'm playing like 4 hands, I think $200 a hand. And I get like, I kid you not, it could not have worked out better. I get like 4 double down hands, and the dealer's showing a 6. And I am like as giddy as could be. And my wife is sitting next to me. She's not playing. She's just on her phone, not paying attention. And they're all black chips out. I only have black chips now. And of course, I double everything down, get a split on another one. I literally have like $1,200 on the table. It's like half what I started the hand with, or Sure enough, the dealer rolls over to 6 and just drills a 5. And even all of my double downs were like 19s, 20s. I mean, they were really, I was like, oh man, this is going to pay for the whole trip. Like we can, like this is fantastic. And he drills the 5 and he's like 21. And of course I'm like, damn it. And of course my wife like looks up and she's like, oh, what are the black chips worth? And I'm like, 5s. They're $5 chips. And everybody at the table's looking at me, and the dealer, I'm looking at him like, if you say one word, he's like, yes, sir. Tough hand. And I throw him like the last green bird I had. I was like, thanks. He's like, that's the first tip I've ever got when somebody lost that much on a hand. I was like, hey, you covered for me so that the missus didn't know that was that much money in play at one hand. So
yeah,
it was fun.
I can't play blackjack anymore. The only thing I'll play besides poker in a casino now is like if I go with my wife and we go to the casino, she likes to play Let It Ride.
Oh, nice.
So it's a pretty dummy-proof game. So you can kind of just have some fun.
It's fun, yeah.
And you're not going to get murdered.
It's I hate to say it's a brainless game, but it's an easy game. It's an easy game to play. It's just you kind of do whatever it's supposed to do, and you have fun, and you drink a little bit, and have a good time.
Yeah, that's it.
To drop back to poker, are you normally a cash game player or a tournament player? What would you say you're looking for?
I'm like 98% cash game.
Really?
Just because I don't really have
the time
with work. I don't really have time to sink into a tournament to play like a multi-day. Like normally, like I like to play the bigger tournaments, especially at CCG, just because it's worth it. If I'm going to play for 3 days, I'm going to win. But that's all. Like cash games are. I like to. I could say, hey, I'm going to come and play for 4 hours and be done, or I'm gonna. People don't like to do this, and it probably doesn't make any sense. But like, I'll say, hey, I want to win 500 today, and after I win that, I'm good. And then once I hit that number, if I'm still running good, I'll hang out for a little bit longer, but like, I'll wait till like, I'm not gonna. I don't know. I think it's just the smart way I play. I'm not gonna risk my whole stack.
No,
Unless,
that's
obviously,
great.
unless the situation
And
comes up.
well, and it's interesting too because I feel like a lot of players, like maybe even me, I do almost the opposite. I'm always like, well, I'm going to play for 4 hours and then whatever happens, happens. And there's so many times where if I'd have just stopped playing after like 2 hours, I'd have been much better off. But I can't seem to get myself to do that because I'm like, oh, I'm already all the way out at the Horseshoe, and I live in Naperville, so I mean it's a good hour drive, and I'm like, I'm already here, and I also have a really great line that I always tell the valet guy. So I always pull up front in front of the valet at the Horseshoe. And they're like, "Oh, are you a diamond?" I was like, "No, I have to pay for it." So I always pay for the valet at that point. I always tell them, "Keep it running and keep it up front. If I'm not back in 10 minutes, you can park it." And the guy was like, "Wait, are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah, kinda. Just wait 10 minutes. If I'm back, that means I'm out of money, and then I'm going home." He's like, "All right, cool." So that's always my funny.
I used to just let it ride and play for as long as I could play, but then been playing for so long, I just lose focus, and I'm on my phone, like especially I live 20 minutes from the Horseshoe in Chicago, so I'm on my phone, just then I just start playing, not paying attention to what's going on. It's a bad thing to do.
I do that all the time.
If I'm in a tournament, it's a different story. I know what I have to do.
Right. There's like an end game to it, right? There's like a path that you have to take. Whereas like cash games, it's the good and the bad thing. It's great because you can kind of get up and go as you please. You don't have to pay attention all the time. You're really looking for one or two hands to kind of make some money on and then move on. Whereas a tournament, you have to consistently do that all the time, which it's a commitment to do it. And people are always like, I never play a bunch of tournaments, and that's the whole reason why. It's like I do it all the time. I'll play 6 hours and I'll play really good, solid poker, and then I'll have one hiccup and then I dump it all off, and I'm like, man, that was a waste of 6 hours.
Right, and a lot of times, it won't even be something that you do. I mean, just getting loses in the pocket aces against pocket sixes or something crazy like that. It's like
it's such a brutal game.
I just wasted two. It's not even that you wasted like the $2,000 or $1,000 or $600 buy-in. It's like I just wasted like
all that time,
18 hours or whatever, and I'm not even going to get a dime out of this. It's like that sucks. Like if I'm playing 18 hours in a cash game, and I don't win at least estimated $500 or $600 maybe, even $1,000. It's like okay,
at least I got something from it,
Right, exactly. It's like I kind of pick and choose the tournaments I played. I've been playing a little bit more lately. Like I actually had. Before all this crap happened, I was having a really good year. I had such a shitty last year, and this year I was like, I started off pretty good. I came in third in your tournament, that Valentine's Day,
which you were on the CCG Poker TV, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, and like we didn't even get to. We chatted between break a little bit, but yeah, we chopped it up, which I was fine with.
Yeah,
Pat the Knit wasn't fine with. So
no, he wanted to keep going.
Yeah, exactly, and that's fine. He's young and into playing it out, and I'm fine with that. But I was fine with chopping too because I won 15 bounties, like in the 2-8.
Right, which is sweet.
Right, that's another $3,000 on top of the 3,500 or whatever we chopped. So I was like, that's it. I'm good with that.
Yeah, this is a good day. Yeah.
Right, and plus, I wasn't a fan of it, but I just went with the whole table wanted to do. Like once we got to the final table, everybody wanted to just keep their own bounties. It was like, it changed the dynamics of the tournament.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and I probably wouldn't do it.
But it's understandable, right?
Yeah, but I just was like, I won so many of them. I was just kind of like, whatever,
And I think that's what happens when you're like the serious recreational player. I'm kind of like, I'll go with the flow. Like whatever you guys want to do. If you want to chop it, I'll chop it. If you want to play it out, I'll play it out. If you guys want to change it up, like it doesn't, like whatever. Like it's not,
Right. Unless you're short stacked and someone says chop, your ears go up like a
what? Yeah. Yes, I'm in.
Yeah. So then after that, like I played the Heart HPT. I played the 6 max and I came in 8th place. The 6 max was fun, and I guess that's going to be the way of poker.
That's going to be a new thing, yeah.
So, yeah. So that was good, and then the World Series came to Horseshoe. You did pretty well.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything in the tournaments, but the cash games were just so good. Like I only played the main event because the cash games were just. That's the best time for cash games there.
Because the room is just so busy and so many people want to go, and they're in my boat, right? Like they drove an hour, they're already there. I'm out of this tournament. I feel like I didn't get enough play in, so I'll go downstairs and play no limit, and it's great.
yeah, it was crazy because I'll just play 2-5. That's my game. And I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not just saying this because it's a Chicago, Indiana-based podcast mostly.
Mhm.
But the Horseshoe is the best players I've ever played with.
Yeah,
like
I would agree.
You can go anywhere. Like I said earlier, I play in a lot of spots. The shoe players are the best players I've ever played with, and I usually play during the day because now that I'm married, it's kind of hard to go play at 11 o'clock at night. Tell your wife you're going to the casino and I'll be back at 7 in the morning. I don't fly no more.
And then you sleep all day. Yeah, and you're just you're in the doghouse.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm usually a daytime player, and a lot of the guys that play there during the day are, that's their job.
Right.
So it's like you really have to pick your spots there. But then when the World Series comes in town, you get people driving in from Wisconsin, from Ohio.
It's a whole different dynamic of players. Yeah.
In the cash games I think I've played, no lie. Like I said, I usually play 2-5 no limit. I bumped up and played 5-10 because I felt comfortable. Because usually the 5-10 game at the shoe is the same 12 guys every time, and they're better than me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep. I'm okay with saying that. Yeah.
And they're deeper than me too. So it's like, all right. So I'll play that sometimes, but I played it a lot when that was there. So I had my time. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna leave at 7 o'clock. It was like 5:30. They opened up a 5-5 PLO game. Ooh. Like I'll usually play 1-2 PLO sometimes, and like I told you, I'm gonna probably start playing them more just because Hold'em's getting so hard.
Yep.
So I just jumped into a 5-5 PLO game with like $800, and I think I won like $6,000 in like 45 minutes.
Wow.
It was crazy. Like it was because I think there's no max in that game, or maybe 2,000 max buy-in.
I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, that's Brandon's department on those. Yeah.
Brandon would know. But I'm not even really sure because that was the first time I played it. But I was like, I was up like 1,000. I'm like, I'm just gonna fire 800 into this. Whatever happens, I don't even care at this point because I was having such a good week. And like, dude, I was flopping sets, and those usually don't really hold in PLO, but I was flopping sets, and then people were just jamming on me, and you could run it twice up there.
Mm-hmm.
And they were running it twice, and my sets were holding every time. I'm like, I've never seen anything like this. I was up like whatever, maybe 6,000, so right around there, and it was like less than an hour. I like racked up my chips, and I was like, all right, I'm leaving.
That's it. I'm out of here.
And I was like, okay. And everyone was like, you're going. I'm like, sorry, this ain't a home game where you don't have to stay for a limit. I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm like, I know I'm in over my skis. And I'm up. I'm out of here. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, this is it. Like, so I was running good, and then, obviously this happened, and there's really been nothing to do. I tried to play online a couple of times, but that's just not for me.
It's not for me either. And people ask me all the time, they're like, why don't you do online stuff? And I'm like, it's a different game. Like, it's very, very different than live poker. I mean,
my live poker is, I base my game off a lot of live reads, and just being the atmosphere, it sounds weird, but just having the chips in front of you is different than just clicking a button. You don't really pay attention like when you're betting 500 on the computer than when you're betting 500 chips.
Right.
Like the physical aspect of it's like, oh, wait a minute.
It feels so different.
Right. And I like seeing things. I like, you can't really. I mean, I'm sure there's people that can get betting pattern tells, off the internet and stuff like that. And but then again, too,
so much
like
harder.
there's so many hands. Like you're seeing like so many hands in a half hour as opposed to live poker. So it's like, the spots are so different, and people that were doing that, like I never really even got into that when it was popular, when you actually could play here legally.
Yeah.
So it was just like, this wasn't for me. And then a buddy of mine has been having a home game, which I think are going to be making a huge comeback.
Oh yeah.
Because who's going to want to go play four-handed wearing a mask?
Right.
Even if they made it six-handed, that would be good. But four-handed is going to be kind of hard. It's like going to be on you like every other hand, and it's like if you're going to be forced to play hands that you normally wouldn't play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
well, even six-handed, that's going to happen. I mean, just the game moves so much faster. You wouldn't think it would, but it absolutely moves so much faster, and you have to be. And again, that's part of the reason why I like playing cash games, in a full game, is because you can kind of zone out a little bit. You don't have to pay attention as much because of the fact that there's more stuff going on. The game moves slower, but you don't have that luxury.
Full table, you catch a bad beat, you can, get up and take a walk, go to the bathroom and, or walk around the casino or, go get some food. Four-handed, it's like, all right,
one guy goes to the bathroom, it's like the game
right.
stops, you know?
Exactly. Two guys leave at the same time. It's like what
Game down.
Second man walking, they're gonna just pick you up. You know,
I can't tell you how many times, games like 7-handed, one guy goes out to smoke and then a guy gets busted on a big hand and then somebody else goes to the bathroom. Next thing you know, they're down to 4 and then they want to break the table and the guy comes back for smoke. It's like, what the hell happened? The game was full a few minutes ago.
It's going to be interesting to see how poker moves forward after this, because I'm sure the World Series is not going to happen this year. I don't see how they could possibly do it.
Yeah, especially if they're going to do they're going to start at 4-handed, because I know I was following the Venetian on Twitter, and they're going to open up like the first week of June, I think like June 3rd or June 4th or June 5th, something like that. And they already said no tournaments, and they're going to do the 4-handed deal. Now, they are going to do 4-handed tournaments, which are pretty cool. They're going to do like $100 buy-ins, winner-take-all tournaments, which are interesting. I think that's a game that people would want to play, and that, at least you can get your juices going. The other trouble part is like how many people are going to want to travel and do stuff. I mean, that's going to be pretty tough to get out there and do.
Florida's poker is back up and running. They don't. Florida doesn't care about too much. So
no, I mean, did you see Seminole? Like they had like 106 people on the waiting list.
Right. I looked
last week.
I checked on Bravo because I just wanted to see, because I'm actually, me and my wife she's not working because she's in catering, so she's kind of doesn't have anything to do, obviously, because no one's booking any parties. And my boss and my other job's pretty lenient, so we're actually headed down to Florida. We're going to go see Boots and those guys.
Oh, nice. That'll be fun.
Yeah, for about a month. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll take a ride up to the Tampa Bay casino and see how it is. And then there's another casino that's a dog track casino. They're 8-handed with the partitions and no masks, and I'm just interested to see what happens. And because on a personal note, I'm not going to play 4-handed.
No, I don't see 4-handed being it's not a viable option. I mean, just the average guy is not going to want to do it, and you need those average guys to play to make it worth, to make the game worthwhile. I mean, how do you play 4-handed poker? It's like
right.
You have to have scheduled breaks.
The only way I can see the World Series doing it is if like possibly they spread it out to a couple different casinos instead of having everyone at the Rio.
That's interesting.
Maybe you have, you cap it. I mean, you could also cap it too, which kind of stings because you're taking away from the prize pool, and that's why a lot of people play those
for
events.
Sure.
Because the prize
They're
pool
huge
is so
prize
crazy.
pools, right?
Right. But then you're gonna. Who knows if the foreign players are gonna be able to come in to.
Right.
It's a lot to figure out, and I don't envy those guys at all. It's a huge part of their Caesar's business, I would guess. I know like the slot machines probably make all their money, but the World Series got to be up there too, as far as at least with advertising.
And just to get all of those people into the casino, playing the other games, feeding the other, you know what I mean? Like that's the other part of it that happens too. I mean, when you get that many people in one casino, they're going to gamble on other stuff besides just a poker. We all do, right? Like
as soon as the first person coughs, they're going to pull the fire alarm and it's going to be over.
Yeah, it's I don't know what to think about it, and it's so hard to kind of understand, and you get so many different opinions and different experts and things saying one thing, and then the next guy says something else. It's like I don't even know, who to believe or how it's going to shake out. I guess only time will tell, and we'll just see what happens, and hopefully it turns out okay.
Yeah,
eventually.
Yeah, it was. I feel like poker was kind of down in a little bit, and I feel like it was picking back up.
We're getting like a second boom again where people were playing a lot more, and live poker was doing really well. The World Series last year had one of the largest.
Right, it was the second one that Jamie Gold.
And that was like full blown online heyday.
Are people even going to have any money to play after this? It's like
that's the other problem. Yeah.
What if you're a full time poker pro and then this happens? It's kind of like Black Friday,
right?
You didn't lose all your money right away, but now you have to, all right, now shoot, what am I going to do? Am I going to play online in one of these poker clubs? Which, all right, if I win, do I even get paid?
Right.
Or do I play on like one of these bootleg websites, like America's Card Room or Shin? And what happens? It takes 3 weeks to get paid. Is my bank going to cash your check?
Right.
Or some guys, if I guess you can, go rent a house in like New Jersey or Delaware or Nevada and just
play
like you and Brandon were talking about on an earlier podcast, just rent a house for a month and just
Which is great for young guys with no
right,
families.
we couldn't
I
we
can't
couldn't
do that. Right.
No.
How the hell am I going to do that? Like, it sounds
no
fun
shot.
for a little bit. I'm sure I'd get bored with it after a while, but again, it's the idea of I'm not a fan of the online.
Yeah,
It's just, it's not as much fun. So, well, cool. Last question for you. Let's get what's your biggest win, tournament or cash game? I know you did say the 6K winner at the Horseshoe for the PLO game during the World Series, but can you think of any big tournament wins? Like, what's your or most memorable? Maybe, I don't
know. My biggest win, poker win, was probably that $6,000 because, like I said, I usually I've won like a couple thousand, like 3,000 one time, a couple times, 2,000 a bunch,
And again, when you're playing 2-5, like that's a pretty damn big winner,
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've walked into the Horseshoe at 8 a.m. and I've seen a guy playing all night with like $7,000 in front of him, and it's like, oh, great, I'm going to buy it for 500 and want to sit at this table,
right?
So it's like not enticing. But yeah, probably around there. I did win when I was 21. I hit a straight flush playing Caribbean stud and won $10,000 and thought I was rich.
No kidding. I haven't played Caribbean stud in a long time. Is that even a game that's out there anymore?
It is. They have one table at the shoe.
They do.
And yeah, because remember when we used to play it back in the day, like the Royal Flush Pool would be like $1 million.
Oh yeah.
Now it's like $20,000 or whatever because no one really plays it.
Yeah, I was in Vegas one time when that hit, the jackpot, and it was like 300,000 or 400,000. Like that's a chump change, but I mean, and it was at like a table behind me, and my brother and I were playing blackjack or something. I remember what we were doing, but I mean, the guy just started screaming and yelling. We all turned around and look, and it was exciting. It was even exciting just to be part of it there when. Yeah,
I think I won $10,000. I was like 23 years old. I was like. Poker wasn't huge yet, so I was like, all right, I'm going to I bought a new car. I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to Vegas. I went to Vegas. What else? I got my own apartment. I bought a bunch of furniture. It was like,
that was awesome.
All right, now I got like $1,500 left.
Yeah, I'm back to normal.
That's pretty much how I've been playing poker for like the last 20 years. Like I don't play poker to live. I play poker to have fun and like win money to buy. Like when I just won that $6,000, me and my wife went to Mexico for a week.
Right. I mean, that's the fun part about it.
I enjoy it because I want to, I don't, like I said, I never wanted to make it a living, and I had the opportunity at one point, but I just never really was interested in doing that.
Yeah.
I just play poker because I enjoy the game and I'm very competitive. I enjoy the competitive aspect of it, and, always trying to get better. There's always going to be somebody better than you, no matter who you are.
Right.
And it's like the only game. Like, I mean, you golf, and I just started playing like 5 years ago. So, but you just can't go play Tiger Woods and beat him. But you can go play Phil Hellmuth and beat him. It's
interesting that's how the dynamic works, right? I mean, you can the average guy. I mean, that's the Chris Moneymaker effect. It's just the average Joe Schmo working at a factory can go play the World Series and walk away and be, a world famous champion. I mean, it's insane.
Right. How much money has Moneymaker made? Just off his image alone from that, and then he wasn't the best player to ever win it, but I don't think he was the worst player to ever win it. But I mean, the guy deserves more credit than
for sure
all these poker pros that no one knows about anymore. I can't watch poker on TV anymore. I mean, I will if there's nothing on.
Right.
Tournaments I can't watch.
It's something that they talked about. There's no stories anymore. Like you used to have those stories where you would kind of follow somebody through it doesn't really happen like that anymore. It's just like, okay, we watch a bunch of random hands and things happen. There's no like feel good story that happens. I mean, like Moneymaker was such an incredible story for the guy to like satellite in and just end up winning the whole thing and play against Sammy Farha, who is like this crazy, just a professional card player, and he just gets beat by this average, I hate to say schmuck, but yeah, I mean, it's what happened, right? I mean, it's just this average guy. I mean, it's great.
And probably a bluff of a lifetime.
Oh yeah. And he got it through. And I mean, it's just, it makes for an incredible story. We need something like that to happen again, just for, again, good publicity for the game. But, well, thank you so much for taking the time and talking to us and telling us a little bit about your poker life and in general. And as always, we appreciate you, coming to support CCG and everything that we do. And, just thank you.
No problem, brother. I'll be there when it starts going again.
Yes. Hopefully more than four-handed.
Yeah. No problem.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much.
All right, Kenny.
All right. Bye.
All right, bye.
Well, that was Joe. Joe is a regular CCG player. He has been with the CCG family, and that's what I like to call it, the CCG family, for a long time. I know Joe personally. We're friends. We've been friends for a long time, even before CCG. So we've always hung out. We've always had poker in common, and now we have a little bit more golf in common. So I'm going to have to try to play him in golf because I don't know if I can always beat him in poker, but I definitely can beat him in golf. So might be able to win some money back that way. But anyways, thank you for listening to this bonus episode. And as always, guys, if you want to be on the podcast, we would love to have you hear your stories, talk to you. Doesn't always have to be a crazy win or something exciting that happens. We love to be able to do this podcast to have more people involved and kind of get an idea of the poker landscape in general. We don't always want pros. We don't always want the average guys, everywhere in between. So thank you for listening. And as always, subscribe to our podcast and leave us a 5-star review. And we will catch you next time for The Overlay, a poker podcast. Thanks, everybody.